I will say this: there is a theme, like you know, uh, an Iowa player. Uh, you've probably heard of Wisconsin offensive linemen. Like you've heard those, and credit to those programs, and they just do a good job. Coach Ferentz, you kind of know, like I was saying about Coach Saban, you just kind of know what kind of player you're getting. But at the end of the day, yeah, they're good football players, but they're just the right human beings. But coming from an established program like Iowa, like Alabama. We don't do that intentionally, but they just happen to produce some really good football players. Historically, they've had success in the NFL, and usually because of um, the head coaches and their background in terms of the NFL and pro style, you kind of know that you're getting probably a kid that's got a little bit higher floor coming in.
Picking up the third quarterback potentially before training camp. Obviously, you got a hand in tonight. I mean, you talked about your background a little bit, as well. Like, how comfortable did you feel, just knowing him as well and his talent and his ability to rehab as well? Like, just take me through the process of drafting him.
Yeah, I mean Hendon, very very talented player. I first saw Hendon when they played Florida, and I believe that was in Knoxville. But it was a way about they run a very fast tempo offense. Now you guys have all heard that. You guys have heard spread offense fast. They go high tempo, all that stuff. The way he was running it, those things that I saw in that live game that you can't see on tape, and it was his urgency and his tempo throughout the game. He was playing very very urgent. He was playing violent in the run game. He was playing violent in the passing game, and I just kind of liked the nature of the way he was playing. And there was little things that kind of stood out to me in terms of he'd score a touchdown, and instead of him being on the bench, with the headset on or talking to the coach in the box, he's standing on the sideline waiting to congratulate his extra point team. So it's little things like that that show kind of what kind of person he was. But regardless of background and all that, he's just a good football player. And if he wasn't, then we wouldn't have acquired him. But he's a good person. He's smart. He's very talented. He's had a unique journey, and he's overcame. So he just has to get healthy. I believe that we have the right situation for him, where he can just sit back, develop, get healthy. But we're excited about his upside.
The offense that he played in just during the draft process, right? And how unique it is, I guess, and maybe that might make it more difficult to translate to the NFL. But what you saw give you confidence that he can, I guess? I mean, not just what he was running, but the way he was running it.
Yeah, it was just regardless of what offense he was running, it was just the way that he was playing. It was just how fast he was playing, how aggressive he was playing, how aggressive he was in the passing game, how aggressive he was as a runner, the way that he was finishing plays in both phases. And obviously he has all the physical traits with size, athletic ability, throwing, and all that stuff. But that's only a fraction of it in terms of the physical traits. He's got the intangible qualities for the position. And, we did a lot of work and we did a lot of research about what they were asking him to do and what they were asking him from a read. So it's a different offense, and it's a lot different than what, was being ran in the NFL. And when it comes to splits and all that. So that was a real big deep dive that we did for a long time, starting way back when, from during the season. So we felt comfortable with it. And we spoke with all his coaches and all that, brought him in, and that's why we went ahead and pulled the trigger on him.
How much did your meeting with him that day sort of tip the scale? Were you already feeling pretty good about things, and did you guys sort of feel? Did that put it over the top?
Yeah, I would say that's fair because again, it's the only question was just kind of what were they asking him to do, and so being able to kind of spend time with him and kind of talk us through it, and so it was good to have that cleared up, but really just a human being and just getting to know him and just making sure that he was the right fit, which all the research that we've done, we were already convicted about that, but seeing it firsthand was easy to put over the top.
He has some healing to do, but outside of that, how NFL ready can you tell he is?
Yeah, I mean, obviously, he'll be a rookie, and he's gonna have to transition into playing in a different type of scheme, but we're really excited about his upside. So, you know, you know, how NFL ready, are a lot of quarterbacks that you acquire, and that's just part of the normal development process. And again, it's just a testament of I think we have the right situation for him, just to come and sit back, you know, see how Jared and Nate do things and just develop.
Guys, I know versatile pieces in free agency in your secondary, guys that can play multiple roles. C.J. Gardner-Johnson, a great example of that. Was that the attractive thing about Brian when you saw him and just how many things he can do, how many different positions he can play, just how versatile he is?
Yeah, it was, but really what stands out about Brian is just that, I mean, if you want to, if you just had football players and he's just football player in caps and just black and white, that's what he is. Just the way that he plays the game, whether he is playing nickel and that's what he played majority of his career there. So he's been more of a nickel than a safety, but his nickel stuff is really good, and he's one of the better tacklers that I saw on film this year from a defensive standpoint, especially for a DB. But he just plays the game like how we play it, and like the style, like how we want to play. He's very instinctive. He's very physical. Like I said, he's one of the better tacklers. He's very athletic. The guy can bend, change directions. He's got good size, and he was another one that when he came in on his visit, just kind of looking him in his eye, and you can just feel him. And you can just feel him, and you can just feel that he wants to be great, and that put it over the top for me. I didn't think that he was going to be there, but we were jacked that he was.
Recognize the Hendon Hooker family connection to North Carolina AT&T tonight, younger brother, dad. How well did you know Alan? Like just through the connections there.
Yeah, his dad was obviously he was alumni, and so I was playing football then, so we didn't have like a close relationship, but he would be around the program quite a bit. He's very, very supportive. I would just kind of see him in the barbershop every now and then. That's back when I had hair, obviously, but yeah, no, his dad was, he's a Hall of Famer at my alma mater, and it's really cool to have that connection, and but again, that's not the reason why we acquired him, but it is cool, and it may give him a little bit of comfort. We chat about it a little bit on the visit, but he comes from a really good family. He comes from a really good family, and Alan's a good guy.
If all goes well with his rehab, like when do you think he can practice?
Yeah, you don't put a timeline on it. Again, the same thing. We talked about with JMO. You just kind of just let it just play itself out. We're very, very happy with what the medicals were when we went over with our medical staff in our meeting. So that made us feel even more confident about kind of where he's at, and we'll just see where it goes. But we feel confident about him.
First time you've taken a quarterback, obviously. So I can stop getting on you with that. But
Was it high?
I know, right? For one at least. But I'm just curious about like the merits of it, right? Like, when like the Brock Purdy thing, right? Some teams kind of believe in taking one every other year. Like, just how much value is there in, even though you like Jerry, you like what you have there, just making sure that you have someone that can either develop into something or become a trade chip for you or whatever it may be.
Yeah, no, I definitely think there's definitely value, there's definitely merit, and just taking one, and but you got to be in position to do it. You guys know when Dan and I got here, we started from the studs, man. We started from the ground up, and so the fact that Jared has been playing as well as he has, and we've had so many things to address, and I put that on me, but we just haven't really been in the best position to address that backup quarterback position as much as I would have liked it. Trust me, it wasn't anything that was ignored, but we just had a lot of other areas that that we needed to address. So we finally feel like we're at a point in the roster where we were able to make a move like this, and it feels good to be able to be there.
You used a fourth and a two-fist to move back in to get Broderick. Just what you like about him, and you have a smile on your face. So maybe one of those guys that is a Detroit guy. And just what you liked about him, what he brings to the table.
Yeah, Broderick, he was let's call him under the radar, non-combine guy, and showed up at the East-West All-Star game and did a really, really nice job. And that's really when he popped up, on my radar. Our area scouts are already done. Steve Neal does a great job, and Steve kind of brought him to light, looked at the All-Star stuff, and then that's what made me dive deeper into his film. And then you see him playing in some better competition games like Auburn, and then you see some stuff, kind of late, and he just has a lot of physical traits that get you really excited about his upside. I'm not sure, his testing numbers and all this stuff. This guy's a big man, and so, but he moves a lot better on film. He had a really good pro day. His workout was good. And it's hard to find big athletic, big guys like that. So he just has, like we say, he's got a lot of meat on the bone. He's got a lot of upside. He's a big man. He's athletic. He plays hard. He chases to the ball. I mean, I don't think I've seen many 330, 340-pound guys run to the ball like he does. And so when you get that, but he's got some rawness, but we're really excited about his upside. He's another one that we brought him for a visit, and he just kind of lit the room up just with his personality and just his mindset. And he's a really good kid that has a pretty unique story, and we're just really, really excited. I think that Coach John Scott's going to do some really good things with him.
Drafting Hendon, did you sort of have your eye on him that whole time? Were you comfortable that he was going to stay there? Or?
Yeah, I mean, I didn't know how long. You just kind of just reading how the picks are falling. So we just kind of made a couple of moves, and the more it kind of fell the way in our favor, we felt pretty comfortable that we would be in a good position to acquire Hendon. But yeah, he was a guy that obviously he was in consideration just like a little bit earlier, but we wanted to kind of get some more capital to do some other things, and so we were in a position. It doesn't always work out that way. You just kind of just holding your breath a little bit, but luckily it worked out.
But this is your third draft as GM. You made 4 trades today, and it seemed like maybe you were ahead of the run at tight ends, and you were ahead of the run at defensive backs there for a minute. So just in draft number 3, how much more comfortable are you with reading the board and making those moves on the clock and some of those?
Yeah, that's a good question, Dave. I felt a lot more comfortable doing that this year. Obviously, did make a couple trades last year, but this year, kind of, especially when you're getting into day 2 and being able to maneuver around, you just learn, as you go and as you get more experience, and you get more comfortable at in terms of just kind of reading it and feeling it and making calls. And I have a great staff too. I mean, I have a great staff that really just does a great job kind of working the phones with Disner and Sostin and Dorsey and those guys. They keep the lines going. We want to make some movement. I'm always calling other GMs, and so we stay pretty busy on there because you just never know how it's going to fall. Guy may. He may be interested in moving, he may not. He may be waiting for his guy to be there. His guy might get taken, right before. And so you just got to be aware. But, not only myself getting more comfortable, but I give a lot of credit to my staff as well.
Picks in advance. I mean, they're on the phone, sort of.
Yeah, it's case by case, and sometimes it's like 2 picks away. It might be like when we were trying to trade back in to get with Broderick. We probably started, much earlier than we did start much earlier than we ended up getting him. We just kind of had to be comfortable with the capital that we were going to give up, and so. But yeah, I mean, I want to say with Broderick, we probably started making calls kind of in the 70s, teams kind of a little bit lower, 10 picks away and all that, just to see if they're even interested, because it would be a little bit of a drop. I had to go back to 122.
with Laporta, Dave mentioned you kind of started a run on tight ends there. He was the second one off the board, and then a few more. I think a lot of people saw in kind of a similar grouping. What about him other than the person? I think we understand the person. What about him on the field kind of set him apart from that lump of tight ends?
Yeah, Laporta, really athletic guy. He can play a lot of different positions. He can align at a lot of different spots. He can do it in line. I really like his urgency and willingness in the run game. For the most part, he's active with his hands. And he's not the biggest guy. He's not a 6'5", 250 guy, but he plays a lot bigger in line than what you think. But what really stands out is when he detaches from the core and the work that he can do on the perimeter, and he can beat a DB, and he can catch contested, and he can win a slant. He's got very good ball skills. I know that there's some stats on drops and all that stuff, but I'm not concerned about his hands. He's got really impressive ball skills. He's just a really good athlete. He can bend, he can change directions, and again, I just like the way he plays football, man. He's got a gritty feel about him. Although he's athletic and he can do all that stuff in the pass game, and he can be a mismatch and all that stuff, but he still has a gritty finishing style, especially with the ball in his hands. He's got run after the catch, so I think he's going to be a guy that's going to be a good addition. He's going to be able to do a lot of good things, but and this was a good tight end class. It really was this year, but he just really stood out to me among the others, so we were happy to get him.
The Titans trading up in front of you for Levis, how, if at all, did that impact what you did at 34?
No. Nope. All right, thanks, guys. Appreciate it.